Hey, GM everyone. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Another episode of Let's Play Little Nouns DAO. Got a great show for you tonight. We got Index Card, we got Envon. We got a lot to cover. There is a lot going on in Nouns this week. We're going to get into it right after this. Hey, Index Card, GM, man. It's good to see you this Wednesday.
GM, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Summer's here. It's nice and warm. And we got a lot going on in Nouns this week. But yeah, before we get into that, we just like to remind our audience, this is what's our genre? How do we call this kind of format, Index?
Not really sure. Live adventure, live streamed adventure. True story, a lot of things. I don't know. We've called it like a different thing every couple weeks. But all right, we got half our faces cut off again, but that's okay.
Yeah, we call it just a true live stream adventure. We're funded by Little Nouns, and you can read all about that on Ethereum, littlnouns.btf/fo/116. We are definitely officially sponsored on-chain by Little Nouns DAO. This is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. I'm a little panda. You're just a little index card. And yeah, it's a very hard game. Very, very challenging and difficult. Time-consuming. Oh, look at that. Oh, nice little upgrade. There we go. So yeah, we are sponsored by Little Nouns. Yeah, we love Little Nouns. And we're coming to you here. This is the current Little Noun. We're at number 7749. A little retainer Little Noun that was not purchased. Yeah, GM, Envon Pence, welcome to the show.
Hey. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear. Dude, Envon, welcome. Yeah, I just kind of hit you up, and you kind of came out with your sort of VR GDA project, right? Mercurials. And it looks like you've already minted 36 of them have been minted. Pretty decent.
Yeah, surprised me as well. I wasn't expecting that much activity, and honestly, most of it came last night before I had tweeted anything. I deployed it and was just minting a few of them. I minted like 5 in a row, just for myself, and then I just noticed that other people started to mint it too. And that's when most of it was going on. And I don't even know. I still up till now still don't even know how people even found out about it, but that was kind of a cool surprise. But I priced the thing so that basically the first 35 would be kind of negligible in price. Thought it'd be a decent way, because I didn't want to the price. I wanted people to buy them. I wanted them to have them. Didn't want price to be too much of a barrier up front, at least. So I made it so I optimized the pricing algorithm such that the first 35 of them were pretty much free, pretty much negligible. Mechanisms sort of start to kick in, and that's kind of funny because it's people started to mint it, but then I was like, okay, we're getting close, and then right at 35, totally ran out of steam, and yeah, we've been kind of sitting at 37 for the last little while, but. Yeah, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, this is yeah, you and I have talked about this. I think we did like half a stream on it, but this is man, so this is work that originally sort of kind of was funded by Lil Nouns with the VRGDA, but this is what we're looking at here is an on-chain SVG NFT that basically uses sort of the Lil Block Party mechanism to kind of show a different piece of art that's totally based on the block. And yeah, then the price is controlled by a VRGDA thing. But yeah, I don't know. Index Card, have you guys met? I don't know if you guys have. But yeah, you want to weigh in on this? What do you think?
I'm not sure if we've like officially met. Maybe when I came in at the beginning of Little Block Party, some Discord messages, but I just realized that it changed art. So that's actually pretty interesting. I was looking at one and then all of a sudden I thought maybe I clicked something. But now I'm seeing expires in 2 blocks, so I'm kind of excited to see what's next.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically, it's kind of a combination of the two like projects that I worked on for Lil Nouns, like the block party mechanism where you kind of preview it. It took some of the feedback that we got from that, which was like, okay, it's great that you can preview the next Lil, but only having one block to make a decision and get your transaction in on time was like pretty hard. So for this, since it was kind of like a fresh slate, it was easy to kind of configure it like a little bit better. So I chose 5 blocks in this case. And yeah, then the pricing mechanism comes from like the VR GDA work that we were doing. So it's kind of a combination of both.
Hey, if I could
cool.
jump in,
cool.
The other thing that I think you guys might really connect on, and what makes this project interesting to me is to mint one of these index, you literally burn the ether. There's no treasury. There's no that the mint proceeds don't go to a DAO. They literally get burned. So it's sort of like an ETH deflationary thing where it's also on chain. But you love to burn things, Index, don't you?
Yeah, that actually caught my attention too. And then I started looking at Etherscan just to see kind of where everything was going. So does it actually get burned?
Well, it depends on, I guess, your definition of burn. But it gets locked up in the contract, and it can't leave. There's no way to withdraw it from the contract. So yeah, it is burned.
Okay. Because I looked at the transaction, I saw it went to an address that wasn't the burn, but that's pretty crazy that it's in a contract forever.
Yeah, I know it's going. The funds are just that's just the contract address.
Okay, and you can't withdraw.
Second, yeah, there's no draw.
Wow.
You can check the code. The code's verified on Scan. But yeah,
interesting.
No, it was easy to do that because I didn't really expect. I don't really expect like tons of funds coming in. So it's like, okay, let's just burn them. Plus, I just think it makes it cooler. Like I was just trying to make something cool, not trying to make money.
Can I ask you
that I align with quite heavily. Just making something cool and not expecting much from it, or anything from it actually, other than maybe whatever general reputation or interest you get from this project.
Yeah, I just wanted one of the tokens. Honestly, that was quite a bit of it for me.
Anvan, I've got the OpenSea up here. Can you tell me about your process of seeing the art? Do you have like a style you like, or are you surprised? Like, are there different archetypes of these things, or how do you see this art?
Yeah, so I think for this, it was mostly just like trying different things, random things, and trying to make something that looked cool. And once I like finally had just a lot of like randomness and trying to just come up with new ideas. And once I kind of got something that I was like, oh, that actually kind of looks cool. Like I'd play with that a little bit, iterate on that, and kind of let that guide the process. I definitely did not like have this in mind when I went out to actually make anything. but yeah, it kind of just emerged, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and I want to run with it, and I'll just tweak different parameters. And yeah, that's pretty much how. Um, the the initial constraint, which like guided this, was that um, it's basically just SVG filters. So it's not like SVGs can like you can have like lines and like shapes like circles and squares, and you can place those a lot, like create lots of different elements and move them lots of different places, and create like connections between them, like visual connections and all that stuff. In this case, there's only one element in the art, and that's just a rectangle. And then I apply these like a few different like filters on top, um, like actual filter elements on top of the like one black square. Um, and so, like that's like the turbulence filter, like the composite filters, like different things like that are layering on top of like a very blank canvas. Um, and yeah, that so like that was the initial frame. Is like, okay, let me just do this without adding shapes. Basically, like what can I do with just the pure SVG filter primitives, and what kind of cool things can you do? And the main one, like the main thing that's like actually creating the artwork here is like this like turbulence filter. And then it's basically like taking different variations off of that. But yeah, that's it.
So as I'm looking on the screen here, I'm at mercurials.wtf. This sort of image that's changing, this is sort of a visual representation of the hash of an Ethereum block, 2 blocks ago. Is that right? 3 blocks ago?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like every 5 blocks, like it uses like every 5th block's hash, and that plus the token ID, and that creates a seed, and then I use that seed to generate a bunch of like other values that are used throughout the artwork, and those values are like for the attributes. I think there's like 11 or 12 different attributes. Yeah, and that your seed, like if you own one of these tokens, like the seed for that is what's used to generate like all the different attributes, which are the points of differentiation in the algorithm.
Amazing. Have any particular additions kind of jumped out at you as beautiful, or like did you see any and you just like you had to buy it?
There's a few that I like. I had the opportunity to like, at least for a few hours when I deployed it, like kind of pick, watch it for an hour or two and pick the ones I wanted. So like the first like 5, I think are all pretty good representations, although I did get a little bit impatient. But like, yeah, like 1 and 0 and 1. I mean, I think honestly, but then like other people started like hopping on it out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, this guy got one that I like better than any of the 5 I just minted. Like that was like legit my thought. And but then other people minted some which I think like are not that great looking, And one thing I wish I had done a little bit more when I was making this was like actually render out a full collection and let's see what it looks like in this OpenSea collection view. Because the way like I'm not actually super happy with how all these things kind of look together when you put them side by side, and because I was mostly looking when I was making this, like mostly looking at the art like one by one, and not like as a collection. And so like I'm totally a rookie artist, like never done anything like this before. But like yeah, like looking at it like at a single piece, I'm like, oh, I'm way more into it than when I see them side by side. When I see them side by side, I think they're a little bit more cluttered, and maybe the colors don't work super great together. But yeah, if I were to do this again, as just some learnings that I took from the artistic perspective, working on this would be to focus a lot on like how the collection looks as a whole and laid out, especially on OpenSea. I think that I've developed an appreciation for lots of different, existing collections, which obviously put that thought into it, because they just like the collection views just look really great. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, like, how difficult must it be to commit you know, to like this on chain forever. Like you could be tweaking this like indefinitely, and then at
For
some
sure.
point you just have to say, all right, this is it. I'm putting this on chain, and that's whatever comes of it comes of it.
Yeah.
That seems pretty daunting to me personally, but I don't know how you handle that. If you had that
Yeah.
moment where you just kind of had to go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's 100% right. Like I've been thinking I've been ready to deploy this for like last like month or two. It's been like a few days away, and then I get close and I'm like, oh, I need to do it again. And I've actually, and the truth is, it's like all secrets. I've actually deployed different versions of this contract a few times over the course of the last week. So there's like other versions of this contract out there. This is the best one, so I wouldn't go where it's not worth looking around for them. But um, yeah, I was like literally like moments away from launching, and then I was like, oh wait, like I want to change something, I want to change something, I want to change something, and so I just had to draw the line because and I would love to like tweak and iterate on it, but I wanted to like have something to show for the work I've done, and um, yeah, and I think if you know, and it just means like you got to compromise a little bit. You know, you got to the value you're going to get from actually putting it out there, even if it's not perfect, is going to be a lot more than like putting in so much work and then like not actually putting it out. There's other things I want to do, like other interesting ideas I want to explore and stuff. So I got to let myself have those up, you know, have that opportunity. And it's like I just got to be at peace with like, okay, not a great collection view, yeah, but yeah, it was an experiment, learning experience.
Yeah, there's certainly, I remember, the three of us have probably spent more time looking at Little Block Party than anyone else. But I remember talking to both of you separately about sort of just this kind of on-chain generated image based on a block that just, changes every block, or in this case, 5 blocks. There's just something about that. It's almost like a new primitive. And even though this looks totally different than a noun or a little noun, it's captivating in its own way.
Oh, I like that one that's on right now. But yeah, I like how it has like nounish elements, and it's like this might be one of the first. Actually, I don't want to say first, but could be one of them that has like some form of nounish element to it, but no real like tie visually to nouns. I don't know. Maybe it more exists, but and I'm just kind of like clueless on it. But
Yeah, I'm definitely a huge fan of like this construct. Like, Ross, whatever you think of the art, like, I think this is a great way to, if your art is like fully on chain and can support this, like this is a really great way to do it. Is set up this like VR GDA auction with the preview functionality, allow people to choose the one they want to mint, have an element of like curation involved in that, and then have it kind of because it's all on chain, like be able have an auction that goes on forever without having, uh, without risk of like like having a massive supply because you're doing this, you're like throttling the supply via the pricing. Yes. Anyway, I think I think it's a cool construct. I think it's a great way to set up options like this, and a lot of it, most of it comes from nouns. There's only just a couple tweaks there.
Hey, I am the proud new owner of Mercurial number 37. Let's go.
Hey, that's great.
Envon, how long do you expect that this art project will be running?
I mean, it'll be going, it'll run forever. I don't know how many, I don't know if I don't know if it'll if the demand will stay there. That I really have no idea on. Would expect, there's a lot of NFT projects out there, so I would expect this one to have a similar fate as most of them. But yeah, this will run forever. This is I don't have to pay for the hosting, and I don't have to keep it up, or I mean, I guess I have to keep the site up, but in theory, like I'll be able to mint one of these like in 30 years with my grandkids or something like that. So yeah.
Amazing. So, okay, so take me through this transaction here. Just a couple blocks ago, I paid like $43 for Mercurial 37. And so this $43 is totally burned, right?
Yeah, it's gone. That is taken out of the protocol.
So
Can't get-
where can I follow that? Okay, so transfer ETH from here to here.
Huh. Maybe you got refunded a little bit. Let's see. So yeah, let's scroll up. So actually, go back. Yeah, go back to your transaction. I haven't actually looked at the transaction screens for this, so I'm looking at this with fresh eyes. You interacted with OX52F is the contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is what I paid.
What is this 0x7B address? That's you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's you, right? Okay.
That's
all
my
right.
mint. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it got me scared. I was like seeing it's an address I didn't recognize. No, yeah.
Wait,
So I think
got paid.
you might have gotten refunded a little bit. So you're not gonna. I put it a little. So that's what that is.
So
you
I
got
made
refunded.
money?
You overpaid a little bit. I think maybe because you had a quote that was like a block or two old, and that's how much the price decayed in one block was like 0.00000047 ETH. Like that must be what that is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And then prove to me that my mint.
And then the rest of the funds should have just are just in the contract. I don't know if Etherscan shows it to you.
Yeah, so there's no like when you go to write contract, there's no like withdrawal or anything.
It's nothing there.
Yeah. There's mint, approve, and you transfer a token, I guess.
Can you show that on screen, Index?
Just go to the click. Yeah, click. I guess the contract if you have it there.
The token contract.
No, there's a green check mark.
Yeah, that one.
Contract tab. Scroll down.
Oh,
Scroll up. Yeah, there you go. So yeah. So these are all the functions that you can. The state changing functions. These are all the potentially dangerous functions that can do stuff like actually change the state, which is what you would need to happen if you were to, wanted to take any funds out. You have to change the state. And so all of those should be the standard ERC 721 contracts. I didn't write any of those except for Mint. The rest are all just inherited from the Open Zeppelin libraries.
So how can I see the balance? Okay, so that's 0.12 ETH. That's the amount that people have burned so far.
That's
in the first.
You can actually, yeah. WTF. Right there at the top.
Oh, nice.
Not obvious, but I'm not a designer, and I was running out of time. Yeah. So the just as far as like the pricing goes, it's meant to sell. It'll stay the same. Like the price will, stay constant if the auction sells one every 4 days. So that's like the schedule is of rate of emissions is one every 4 days, and it maintains that by every time you sell a token, it'll go up about 23%, and then every day that you don't sell a token, the price will go down gradually over the course of the day, 5%, and that should keep things in check.
So that, to me, that's the interesting question: is if you're going to mint one of these in 30 years with your grandkids, do you think the mint price is going to be like 0.02 ETH, or do you think it could get really high?
I don't know. I think most likely probably not going super high. I think the art may not be there enough to really get the attention. Maybe not. I'll I'll leave that open. But I do think that there are like some kind of like viral qualities to this. Like I think the burn to mint stuff is quite interesting. VRGDA, well, it's not novel here. It's like pretty engaging. Actually, the whole construct is pretty cool. And as far as I know, like there's nothing else like this out there. And I think yeah, I think it's all pretty cool. So I think there's a lot of value there. Whether it actually takes off seriously is probably not. But yeah, it's like 5% each day. This thing will cool back down pretty quick. Check back in 2 weeks. The price, if there's not a ton of activity, the price will be much more affordable.
Awesome. Yeah, beautiful art. I absolutely love this. Just so everyone's clear, right? By minting one of these, you're burning your ether. You're not going to make any money. This is sort of an interesting art project that really, combines so many nounish things. You sent me this sort of about that you wrote here, and yeah, I just want to highlight this, and then I think we got to get on for the show. But yeah, you said burning ether has several benefits, including giving back to the broader Ethereum community by taking ether out of circulation, limiting the complexities of managing a treasury, that we all certainly know about, and decoupling profit incentive from the art, I think is a really interesting thing where you're not decoupling like the spending of ether, but you're decoupling sort of intentionally the profit incentive. So I love that. Thanks, Envon, for coming on the show. Yeah, Index, anything else to add?
No, that's super cool. And I kind of like the idea of burning it, you not profiting from it. And I'll have to check back in a couple weeks. The one right now is kind of interesting though too. That's going to be maybe the tough part, is that like, which one do you go for?
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on, guys. It's a good chat.
You're muted. I don't know if you're talking or not.
The dreaded mute. Yep.
That's okay.
Yeah. That was awesome. It was a fun interlude. Love that project.
That's pretty cool. I saw it. I think I actually saw it on Twitter. Maybe because you interacted with it. And it's a lot more interesting when you hear kind of like more of the backstory from the person themselves. But yeah, the burnt ether is kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So let's see here. We're here about June 21st. We got this Noun 752, Lil Noun 7749. We wanted to cover some Lil Nouns news this episode. Let's start off with Lil Bev's here. This was Prop 129. Bixbyte, an overwhelming vote here of 1625 for, 0 against. That strikes me as amazing. It's not often that you get 0 no's on a prop, and I definitely do see right here, I do see a little index card there. Is that yours or is that Mike's? That's yours, right?
That is mine. I delegate to Mike now, though. So yeah, that's my very first index card, front and center. That's okay. I like that my Lil Noun is getting put to use.
Yep. Amazing result there. kind of a fun new kind of project. Be really fun to watch that. But there are other props up here, like this Extend Downs Auto Bidder 60 ETH proposed by Bixbyte. This is going to start in 2 days on interesting Friday. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so timing this so it starts at noon on Friday. That's. Do I have that right? Do we think that's coincidental?
I don't know if there was any intention on the timing, but I do think there's a chance this prop gets canceled because the auto bidder accepts a variety of settings and none of those were updated on the this proposal. So it would be using months old settings that probably wouldn't lead to any sort of outcome. And so if this prop were to stay up and pass, then another prop would likely have to go up in order to do anything meaningful with the auto bidder. So I think it'll get canceled and reproposed with some different parameters for the auto bidder.
Well, would it transfer 60 ETH over there?
Yeah. And then the auto bidder would work, but the maximum bid right now is 25 ETH on the auto bidder for Lil Nouns. And we haven't seen a 25 ETH auction in over a month. So that's the only tricky part.
Under 25 ETH.
Did I say over?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Under 25. Sorry. So I think it may get reproposed with some tweaks. Because if you click Prop 115 there, that's linked. Yeah, you'll kind of see these are the original parameters here.
Yeah, but I mean, this would get the ETH over to Federation, which is significant because it's like once it's over there, we can only use it to auto bid, right? Or I guess could we transfer it back?
I think you can. I let's click right now. Actually, I'm gonna click on my screen real quick. Yeah, there's a withdraw function. So you could withdraw the contract balance.
Oh yeah, see, I mean, the prop says it. We're not going to change the min-max bid settings. It's just going to increase the balance. Yeah, one thing I will note is I don't think I'm in favor of this. I don't think this is how, personally, we should spend our ETH. Ooh, we're down to 266 ETH. But I do appreciate just how clean this prop is. I think this is very well organized and written. Yeah, I always give the feedback. You know, you see these props and they're just massive, and there's so much to digest in here. Manageable. Shout out there, and I definitely like the timing strategy here.
The content of the next proposal, then it's the cleanest proposal you'll ever see.
Okay. 131. Update set reserve price to 0.05. Oof. This is quite clean.
The TLDR is just the prop itself. Like, you're getting a TLDR on the TLDR, essentially.
Oh, man. And it came up just less than an hour later than that first one. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about this one? I think I'm a yes.
I don't know. I think I'm like an all or nothing kind of person, almost like just remove the whole thing. But at this point, I think
if you remove the whole thing, you get these like micro bidders all night, and it really is kind of a threat, in my opinion, or can be.
Yeah. I'm conflicted because I think maybe then you just extend like the auction window, perhaps. but I'm not sure. I think you'd have to deploy. I don't even know if you can extend the window. I'd have to look at the contract. I feel like in nouns it's hard coded. But yeah, I know you get the auto bidders anyway. So I don't know what the number is, if 0.05 has any meaningful impact, but we'll see if it goes through. 0.15 does feel high though. Like it's quite a commitment to purchase one, which is good because you want people to buy with some form of attention, I think, but I don't know. I don't feel strongly about this one, but I do tend to be like an all or nothing kind of person, even though I know the no reserve will lead to some weird actions. We'll see.
Yeah, and those will be decided this weekend. Yeah. Should we we want to get into the follow-up on this news from Federation and the voting pools. But before we do that, I just want to highlight the Nouns DAO stake ETH position this past week. We went from Nouns went from holding 14,969 ETH last week to 14,982 staked ETH this week. And with the change in the price, the result is some volatility here week to week, but definitely a week in the green for Nouns' staked ETH position, huh?
Yeah, it's quite a drastic difference in terms of US dollars. But I think, what does it come out to? 13-ish ETH, 3.7 million US dollars. It's kind of crazy that about I guess 12.5 ETH can be the equivalent of that much dollars.
Yeah. Let's get this.
I think I try and look at it in terms of ETH, but obviously the US dollars becomes more and more important, especially with the a lot of props being denominated in USDC.
Yep. Yeah, to me it's
Crazy.
Just amazing how a DAO that has like no CFO, no treasurer, like no one, holding private keys, that just a 1 week swing here, about $4 million. That is a significant kind of volatility, and definitely can go down, can go up. But hey, this week not a bad one for the Nouns DAO treasury. Okay, moving on. Next thing we want to talk about that's sort of exciting is we talked about the Federation governance pools last week. And when we talked about them last week, there hadn't been any auctions quite yet. But now there is the first auction going on right now. This is for Prop 310. This was a Little Nouns prop, which is losing quite soundly right now. Nevertheless, looks like Arash here has bid 0.13 ETH for the 11 votes in this pool. What do you make of this so far, Index? Is this kind of what you expected?
Not really, actually. I don't know. The other kind of like participants in the auction were the delegates themselves, which that was to be expected. But as far as like Prop 310, I did not really necessarily expect Arash to dip his toe in the water. But he's paying about 0.01 ETH per vote, which honestly isn't really that bad. The unfortunate thing is that as of right now, those votes won't make any sort of difference. So maybe timing wise could have been a little better for him to wait it out. But yeah, I don't know. I think the ramifications and the outcome of this are still to be determined. But On the NFT yearbook prop that's coming up, the proposer bid early for and got outbid. So that's kind of like another interesting case. Prop 312.
Yeah, let's get to that. But real quick, just on 311, I notice here Brennan is the leading bid of the floor price of 0.042, and no bids against that I can tell. And of course, this is a prop that right now is leading 72-0, and in my mind is quite likely to pass. But yeah, no opposition to 311, whereas the no voting action here was, I guess I can't see it at my current, oh, no, here it is. So beautiful NFTs, T-Mobile against, Brennan for.
It's interesting. I don't really know what to make of it yet. But obviously, as we get further and further up these auctions, the pool becomes larger. So some of the most recent props, 36 votes up for auction, which is quite the swing, if needed.
Yeah. Also zooming out, I noticed you start off with 11 votes here on 310, then 25, 25, 30. Now it's up to 34, 36. That's got to be, what, about 5% of the noun supply? I mean, that's incredible. We're on noun 752. So, what, in the first few props now, it's got 5% of the supply in the pool?
Yeah, just shy of 5%, but pretty close.
Yeah,
it's quite a bit. And then also, I know the kind of like stat that T-Mobile has been touting on Twitter is that it's half of the quorum, roughly, just shy of half quorum available to buy on these latest props. Now, obviously, most nouns props tend to hit well over quorum. But yeah, I guess it's interesting. Or threshold, I guess we're saying. I don't know which one. The contract says quorum, the front end says threshold. So threshold's currently at 75 votes. So you could buy half of that.
Or even just take a look at certain props. Like here's 306, barely passed by 10 votes. I mean, if there were 36 votes to buy on Federation, then any buyer could have literally chosen the outcome here, theoretically. And there have been a good number of these. Right, I think 189 famously, that would have been a huge one. But also, geez, the novel, right?
Yep, the novel was a pretty contentious one. I'm trying to think of what other.
Font here, okay, so lost by 28, 38, 39 votes.
It's getting close, especially considering some of those against are some of the ones that are in the pool, I would think.
Yeah. Or how about, let's see, the dynamic quorum updates.
19 difference.
Yeah, I just think it's a totally new meta. I think already 5% of the votes, possibly significant. And yeah, there are going to be some props, I think, where if Federation figures this timing out, like right now, when does the voting window close? I guess we could find out. So, all right. So let's say if I wanted to bid on prop 310, I've got 1 day, 17 hours. Prop ends in 2 days.
It's like a half an hour difference, I think. If I remember, I may be wrong, but I think roughly the Federation auction ends like half an hour before the final one, or the on-chain one. I could be a little bit wrong about that though.
I love that, man. There's going to be props that are decided here on Federation, in my opinion, for some amount of ETH.
Yeah, it's gonna happen at some point. I don't know which one. Right now, all these are pretty clear on their votes. Although maybe Arash's prop gets interesting. There's still a lot of votes left.
Yeah, one prop I really want to highlight: 314 retro funding for voter.wtf. This is Wilson Cusack's project, totally open source, totally amazing. I use it all the time to kind of watch votes. It's got this vote timeline. Yeah, he's asking for 10 ETH and retro funding. I think it's amazing. I'm a definite yes. I said on Twitter, easy yes. How do you think this one will turn out, Index?
I think it's a yes. It's kind of like a new model that hasn't really been done before. Someone just kind of takes it upon themselves to build a tool that they want to use and others to use. They get a lot of traction, and then I think come to the DAO with like a very reasonable and moderate ask. And I kind of like, obviously I like the tool. I've been using it since before it had this domain name. I gave it my own domain name so because the other one was kind of confusing. It kind of sets a new meta almost for developers, and maybe it's like almost a statement, the prop itself, that he did all this work and then is asking for the ETH after proving that it's been a value add.
Yeah. And I've looked at the code here because it's easy to find. He links to it all the time. The GitHub, it's totally open source. Wilson builds in public. He takes input, and it's led to like a lot of votes on chain. And it's sent from voter.wtf, made an on chain difference. Just real shout out here to Wilson in 314. Really hope to see this pass.
I think it's a pass, but you never know. But I think it gets the yes. Maybe the Federation pool makes it interesting, but my bet is on 4.
Yeah, I think this gets strong yeses from some of the big blocks like 40 and Nounders, and I think Will Price, for example, could very well be a yes on this. I think this is the kind of model that you might be able to support. Moving right along here, also want to shout out Martin for MMMOGU.com, sort of like a human readable sort of block explorer. And this got to my mind. Here I am at the board, because this is a feature that I've been talking to you about wanting to build.
I know.
But yeah,
we got beat to the punch by like a long shot.
Yeah, and you can like really see. I assume these are different based on. Yeah, they are. Right. This is literally the board. This is like the Electoral College. You go to CNN or MSNBC and you look at the big board. That's what this is for nouns, isn't it? It's one of these things.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm a little thrown off because it skips a bunch of props on the drop down, and I wanted to show one, but the San Diego Comic-Con prop was actually kind of in a no state, and I looked at the board and I could tell the odds were that it was going to swing into a 4 vote. You can't really guarantee it, but I used it on that prop, but it's not available right now, unfortunately. But yeah, it was leaning towards a failed defeated prop, and then I could see that some of the votes that were still out there were likely to gonna be a 4, and it passed.
Yeah. Yeah, or like if we look at this 311 here, I can see very quickly 2 big Will Price addresses plus Little Nouns plus Seneca and Corella, Digital Oil. I mean, when all these are quick yeses on a prop that has a very large ask, this one's over. Like I think we can basically call this one for a yes.
Yeah, I think you're looking at a yes. Interesting.
Yeah, and I also love the 10 to vote against. 10 to vote for. I love that. It just gives you context.
I'm on there. I think I'm a 10 to vote for somewhere. So. Yeah, only one vote though. For. And I am a 4 on this prop. I just have to get there.
So I can click yes, and I can say like, that's what's interesting. Okay.
Prop here. Okay.
All right. So here's what we got to do: is blank slate. Now does this do the threshold too? Yes. Quorum changes. Oh yeah. So we gotta play us out here if we had a hypothetical prop. Look, we need the nounders. If we don't get nounders, we're going to really struggle. We need 41. We need little nouns. Yeah, we're going to get Joshua, hopefully. Yeah, we'll get 40, hopefully. Gami. Yeah, we need Joel. We want Bix, Krell, Corella. We got some cred in P nouns.
I just voted abstain on one of their props, but that's okay, I think.
Yeah. Neckfist, right? Friend of the pod.
Neckfist, yeah.
All right. So look, there we'd be at 111 passing, but threshold at 75. So then, if we got to deal with the no's, like POAP, no. Oh, we lose.
Just that alone. That's not a good sign. We need Nounsel. Throw Nounsel in there.
Nounsel. What's Nounsel got? 7.
Throw him in.
All right.
We're good now.
Yeah, but this is if only POAP and Will vote against us. I mean, there's going to be a lot of these.
What's the maximum? What's the maximum threshold right now?
I think it's at maximum now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we got to get Bud Light, and I have a feeling actually that we are going to get Bud Light. Just a feeling.
Yeah, but I think Bud Light might be in our corner.
And I think we'll probably get Madrovsky. Probably.
I hope so.
Although, what is the current Madrovsky meta on the voting for your own prop?
I'll be a 4. A silent 4.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe I'll take it to Twitter. I don't know. Or flip a coin. I thought about flipping a coin. I don't know why, but
I think that'd be interesting. Like flipping a coin on chain or flipping a coin IRL.
Oh my gosh, flipping a coin. I mean, it's only one vote, but on chain makes it interesting now.
Okay, now that's an interesting contract. Is
Yes,
interact with
that
the
is.
contract, and it'll vote you yes or no based on some random thing.
Oh, okay.
And then it gives
That's
a
made that-
reason of like a random thing. Just make something up. Or this vote was cast. This vote was a coin flip.
The only like thing with that, I think, to truly make it on chain is I'd have to delegate to that contract, kind of like the federation. You delegate to them. So I don't know if I could do it like truly trustless on chain right now. But I could potentially like make a contract, do the flip, and then just reference that in the vote without delegating. But I think to truly make it trustless, I'd have to delegate to this contract that then votes on my behalf. That would get pretty interesting.
You know what would be interesting about that is for people who it really is a coin flip, you know, you can kind of send that message on chain and still vote and participate. Because I think you've had that experience where voting is this kind of big wait and you don't know where to go. And I think was it the Nouns Brazil where you basically, I asked you and you said it's a coin flip for you or something like that, right?
Yeah, I took it to Twitter, that one. There's been a couple. I've abstained on a few. I don't feel strongly either way. And then, I don't know, not strong enough for and not strong enough to be against. I feel like that's also kind of like you like the proposers, but maybe just not that prop. So that's kind of like where I fall in the abstain category sometimes.
That would be, we're coming up on the hour here. That's sort of a fun note to kind of end it on, or a fun topic. But yeah, I'm thinking like the design or the UX for a contract that just casts your vote randomly, if that could be done technically. It'd be kind of funny. You could like roll a nounish die and like one side says for, one side says against. It'd be fun.
I kind of want to do it, but that gets tricky with the delegation thing and making it trustless, I guess.
Yeah. You're sure you would have to delegate? You couldn't just make like a new vote function that casts a vote on the Nouns DAO contract?
Huh. I don't know, actually. I have to think about it. I guess, yeah, maybe I could. I don't know, actually. I have to think about it more. My inclination says I'd have to delegate it and then hit the button, but anyway,
Yep.
We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that absolutely next week, same time, right at the start of the blockchain day, 12 p.m. UTC, 8 p.m. Eastern. I saw this on Twitter, Index. Looks, what is this here? We're going to end on this note. I think Onion tweeted this out, friend of the pod.
Yep, Onion. He's been on before. Hopefully he's brushed up on his Onion knowledge, but had dinner with him maybe like a month or two ago and gave him a swim cap with some noggles on it. And I guess he's been using it, doing some swim training. So that's cool to see. I've handed a few out into the wild, and I wear mine every single day when I swim.
When did you have these? And is this like you printed them or got a bunch of them made? Or I didn't even know you had these. I had no idea.
I have had them since November. And I've been wearing them since November, I think. October, November. I ordered them online, had them printed. And I think the minimum order was about 25 of them. So I've got maybe like 20 left. It was like a prototype for a bigger idea that I still don't know if I'm going to go through with or not. And similarly, I actually had placed an order earlier this week for something related, and then I ended up canceling it because they couldn't meet my specific needs. But I'm trying to work on something in the background. Slowly but surely.
Amazing. Are you going to bring any of them up to on your travels next week?
Probably, just in case.
Oh, are you going to bring the IRL index card?
No. That's ridiculously large. I still have it though in the basement. That's like 3 foot by 5 foot almost.
It would be kind of funny to bring that as a carry-on though. Would that fit in the bin, or would it have to go in the overhead bin?
I don't think it's going to go in the overhead or under the seat.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, great show this week. We continue as we chug along here with Prop 116. Let's play Little Lounge DAO. We are gradually crawling out of the trough of sorrow as we work towards building our prop. I'm going to bring us up here. We get a lot of good fun stuff going on in Nouns. We will be back next week. Yeah. We'll see you next week, everyone. Index, You want to take us out?
That's all you. But see you guys next week. I think this was our 9th in a row. We got a couple of diehard fans in the crowd, and so much appreciated. Our faithful watchers, NounsTube, Aniello, and then of course our special guest today, and Von Pence. That was really cool to see. We're just going to keep plugging along here.
That's right. That's right, everyone. We will see you all next Wednesday. Thanks for watching.